record. All right, well, thank you for joining me. This is gonna be a 45-minute wall yin. So if you have some space where you can slide your mat up against the wall, that's gonna be where we'll kind of focus in our energy today and be in our space. If you have a pillow or an extra blanket for extra cushioning, go ahead and grab it. Everything else, we don't really need anything for props today. So let's go ahead and meet over on the wall, and we'll start out in a child's pose facing away from the wall. So if you have any props, go ahead and set those over to the side. And then go ahead and bring your toe pads together to touch behind you. Walk your knees out as wide as you can. And then go ahead and stretch your arms out in front of you here, resting your forehead somewhere on the mat. So kind of letting your upper body hang heavy. As you sink back, hips to heels. Take a moment to reach your hips back towards your heels. Get literally long through the spine. Let your elbows be soft on the mat or on the earth. And just let your forehead soften onto the ground, or your cheek, if that feels better, to turn one side and the other. And let your hips gently open up with gravity. Let your belly hang soft in between your legs. Let your heart melt towards the floor. And as you get comfortable here, making any kind of movements that you need to find yourself, maybe 10% more comfortable. Let's take a breath in together, breathing in through the nose, fill up through your back body, your kidneys, and the back of your heart. As you exhale, open your mouth and send the breath away. Take another breath in like that, breathing in, fill up through your belly, fill up through your ribs and chest. And then exhaling out the mouth, send the air away. And take a few more breaths just like that until you're guided into that quiet center within. Beginning to build length in your inhales, fullness in your exhales. And as you begin to soften into this space, really starting to let your body relax and melt. Begin to notice how you feel today. Notice how you're showing up on your mat, what kind of energy you're bringing with you into the room or into your yoga space. And just taking some time without any judgments, just observing how you're feeling today. And with that breath, with that observation, starting to notice how you'd like to feel when you step off of your mat and back into the everyday. So now that our everyday has become something a little different than what we're used to, decide how it is that you want to feel. Decide how it is that you want to act the rest of the day. And this awareness of bringing in that positivity now helps us to be positive throughout the rest of our day, helps us to be positive to others. So if you need a bit of positivity today, lately I've been concentrating my intentions around just becoming aware. Just becoming aware of sensations that I feel, becoming aware of how my body reacts when something happens to me, becoming aware of how my body takes its time to kind of find that calming energy. So what kind of processes do you go through, or maybe routines that you like? Becoming aware to help us tune into those senses, to help us figure out how our body receives information. And then once we understand that, we can make better educated decisions for ourselves that help us to grow, that help us to further, that help us to overcome challenges. So together, let's take a breath in through the nose and fill all the way up. Take that same breath back out through your nose until you empty completely. Feel your belly button pull in and up. Breathing in, let your belly inflate and get large. Breathing out, pull the belly button in and up. See if you can contract so that all the air presses out. And take another couple rounds of breath just like that. Starting to wiggle your fingers, maybe reaching the fingertips to the top of the mat, stretching out through the arms. You might take the gaze in the opposite direction. And then eventually bringing your gaze forward, go ahead and start to walk your hands underneath of your shoulders. If you're using any props, go ahead and set it to the side. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see me a little bit better. From your tabletop position, find a place where your shoulders are stacked right over your wrist and your hips over your knees. Spread your palms really wide. And with an inhale, hammock your belly down. Take your gaze forward or even up, finding cow pose. As you exhale, round through your spine to find cat pose. Take the gaze back to the thighs. And rounding, doming through your upper back here. A couple more breaths just like that to move forward and back, moving deliberately and consciously, purposely, so that we inhale and we find length. We're also breathing fullness into our heart. As we exhale, grounding down but rising up through the upper back, through the heart. And just feeling into those sensations as we move. So noticing how your inhales help you to stretch open the torso. The exhales help us to stretch open the backside. And now let's come back into a neutral tabletop position. Stacking your shoulders, continue to keep them right over hips. Shoulders over wrist and hips over knees. And now take an inhale, hammock your belly down, find your cow pose. As you exhale, round through the spine and then take your hips all the way back to your heels. Let your elbows soften. In a flow now, as you inhale, hands stay as they are, but we kind of dive under the wave with our torso. Find your cow. And now exhale, find your cat, round all the way, and then continue to round until your hips land back on your heels. Elbows can soften. And then again, inhale, open up the chest, find cow. Exhale, round through the spine to find cat, and then send it all the way back into child's pose. Breathing in and breathing out. This time, just go ahead and press yourself back up into a tabletop position. Walk your hands back and go ahead and find a seat up against the wall. So you could be cross-legged, but your bum is going to slide as close to the wall as you can. And legs could be either cross-legged or you could be on your shins, on a blanket, or on a pillow if you like. And then make sure that your shoulders are making a connection to the wall here as well. With an inhale, stretch your arms up. With an exhale, bring your right hand down. Lift your left arm up and over, but try to keep both shoulders glued to the wall. So if you want, you can bring your top hand behind your head, or just kind of let that arm hang over your head and keep pressing that shoulder blade back. You can let your head drop down towards your shoulder if you like. And then we'll take a neck stretch in the other direction. So bring your left hand down and bring your left ear to your left shoulder. If you want, you can gently place your hand on the outside of the head and give it a little pull. Not too much, just enough where you feel that stretch. Go ahead and bring your left hand back down. Let's inhale the head back up over. Inhale the arms up, and as you exhale the left hand down, stretch the right arm up and then over. Bring your right shoulder blade back onto the wall if it left. That way we're keeping that alignment, shoulders stacked over top of one another. If you have more room, you might be able to come down onto forearms. Otherwise, stay lifted. Either gaze up towards that elbow or gaze down towards your hand. That feels better. Big breath in and out. And now bring the right hand back down. We'll take the right ear over to the right shoulder. And again, if you want to gently guide your head down, stretching out the neck. You can also move this left hand up and down. That pull hand down towards the floor is going to give you a nice big stretch through the neck there. And then releasing the head. If you have a hold of it, sit up nice and tall. And we're going to come to stand. So bring your hands out in front of you and shift up into a standing position. We'll only be here for a couple of breaths. We are going to turn to the side. So let's start with the left side of our body connected to the wall, or at least facing the wall. Cross your, go ahead and bring your left hand to the wall. You can step away from the wall a little bit. You're going to cross your right foot over top of your left. Press down through both feet evenly, and then reach your right arm up and stretch it over until you're able to find that wall space. So you can press your right hip towards the camera here, or towards the video, the middle of your room. A big lateral opening through this right side body. We also get a stretch to the IT band as we give that right leg a little cross. Your left hand is helping you to kind of press away. Your gaze can be up, your gaze could be down. Breathe into that lateral opening in the right side. And then when you're ready, go ahead and bring the right hand down, uncross your legs, turn to face the opposite direction. Good. And this time the right hand's gonna be, we're gonna place it on the wall. We're stepping about a footprint, or maybe a couple of footprints away from the wall. You'll have to kind of decide what feels better. And then cross your left ankle over your right, stretch your left arm up, and then over the ear line. So working your way, not necessarily to touch the wall. If it doesn't quite touch, that's okay. We want to keep our left shoulder blade stacked on top of the right. So option to gaze up to the left or gaze down to your right toe. You can press your left hip towards the middle of the room to get a deeper opening through that IT band that runs from the top of our hip all the way down to our Achilles heel. Breathing in and breathing out. Go ahead and release from the wall there. Go ahead and uncross your feet. Come back to face, we're going to face again back towards the wall. And this time we're going to find down dog on the wall. And this way we're going to do either hands or forearms. It doesn't really matter. It's kind of up to you. But the way we figure out where we place our hands is we come very close to the wall. And then we take our hands to right about where our hip points would make contact with the wall if we were to come all the way up. So mine are about right here. I'm going to keep my hands right there, and then I'm going to start to walk out. And once I walk out, I'm going to place my hands flat on the wall when I can, so that the heels of the palms are flat. And then I'm only going to walk out to where I feel a stretch through my upper body. So I want to kind of make this T shape with my body. Not quite as obvious the way that you're standing, but if I were to stand against this wall, right, I kind of make this upside down, or this lightness in my hands for a downward facing dog. So we let the legs be pretty strong here, softness in our knees. We are pressing the palms firmly into the wall so that we can let our heart melt towards the floor. And pull your belly button in away from the floor. And this is a nice alternative if down dog is too much pressure on your shoulders ever. This is a nice way to modify down dog. Let's take the next couple of breaths here. And then as we're ready to release, we're going to walk closer to the wall just so we can come out of that a little easier. Turn away from the wall this time. And we're going to come down into tabletop position. Good. Stamp your right sole of your foot on the wall behind you there. And then step your left foot forward in between your hands. Good. So if you need a little extra cushioning for your right knee, you can slide a blanket or a pillow underneath that kneecap, or roll your mat over if you don't have a blanket or a pillow. When you're ready, make sure that you press up. You can bring your hands to this top knee. We're going to reach our arms up for Anjaneyasana. Keep pressing that right foot into the wall, and now scissor hug your left hip back towards the wall. Interlace your hands and bring them behind your head. Reach your elbows out to open up across the chest and the shoulders. And then if you want a little back bend here, you can start lunging forward through the front knee, staying lifted through your heart, lifted through your chest. Make sure that that right foot stays mounted to the wall. We're feeling pressure there. We're also helping us to activate that right leg. Left hip should be scissor hugging back. And instead of dumping the weight in your pelvic floor, tuck the tailbone down, pull the belly in. Now bring your hands back down. To frame the foot for a breath or two here. And now inhale, reach the arms up. Take your hands together at your heart, and let's take our right hand to the outside of that left thigh. Bring the right hand to the back pocket, or take that left hand and bring it around to the wall. So you're twisting by pulling on the knee, and then we're using that back hand sort of as a lever to help us open up left shoulder a little deeper. Pull your belly in as you inhale, twist as you exhale. And when you're ready to release, go ahead and come back around. Now we'll take the hands down. And here's where we're going to start to walk the back shin on the wall. So we need to tuck the toes under and start sliding the right knee all the way back to the trim. So you'll have to kind of walk this leg back. And again, if you need to move your blanket back or any extra cushioning back there, move it back. Good. And then see as far as you can get, knee to the shin to the wall there. You're going to bring your hands up onto your front knee there. So we're getting a big quad stretch in this right quad. And again, you can always bring your hands down for support. Maybe walk the left knee in a little bit, pressing away from that front knee, and then slowly working our shoulders one day back towards the wall. But we're only working back till we feel that stretch in the right quad here, which is a pretty intense stretch. So only go to where you can maintain and find the next several rounds of breath here. Take your next 2 breaths here. And once you're done with that second exhale, bring your hands down, slide your back knee off the wall so you can bring it underneath. We're gonna rest in child's pose, so knees can come wide or come together, up to you. Toe pads come together to touch, and then we stretch our arms out so we can rest our forehead here. Rest for a few rounds of breath here, letting the belly be soft once again. Let your heart melt towards the floor. And then when you're ready, go ahead and walk your hands in and up. Bring them underneath of your shoulders. Come back into your tabletop position. And then if you have your mat laying this way like I do instead of long ways, you may want to take a blanket out in front of you. We're going to come on down onto our bellies and come into Sphinx pose, but we are going to bend our knees and walk them all the way back to the trip. So then this way we're bringing our shins to the wall and we're bringing our elbows underneath of our shoulders, pressing away from the forearms, from the floor, drawing the heartstrings forward between the biceps. Try to squeeze your shoulder blades onto your back body here. Spread the palms really wide. Here's a great place to close your eyes. Take your chin to your chest. Find some neck rolls. If there's any pinching or crunching in your low back, pull your belly button away from the floor. This is what's going to help protect that low back side. Keep drawing your shoulder blades together for Sphinx pose. And take your next couple of breaths here. And then go ahead and walk your elbows out, stack your forearms on top of one another, forehead stacks on top of palms. And you can window wiper your knees if you like, side to side, releasing the low back. Bring your hands under your shoulders or roll to one side, up to you, how you want to move, and then come back to a tabletop position. So hug your knees in, and we'll, again, this time we'll take the left sole of the foot to the wall. So if you need a little extra knee push, go ahead and bring that underneath. Left sole of the foot to start to the trim, so just the sole of the foot. Right foot steps forward in between our hands. And as we inhale, the arms reach up to find Anjaneyasana or low lunge. And again, we're taking a moment here to kind of feel into the energy in the legs. So make sure you're pressing the left foot into the wall. This time the right hip is scissor hugging back. It's not a big movement, but if we've got this front knee so much forward that it's starting to cave in, we want to make sure that the right knee stays underneath or right on top of the ankle. Arms reach to the sky, and then take your hands behind your head. Little back bend here. If you want to deepen into the lunge, you can. And then bringing yourself back up through center, bring your arms overhead. Bring your hands to your heart. Take your left hand to the outside of the thigh. The right hand's gonna reach around either for your back pocket or take a hold of the wall here. So we're using the right hand as a lever to help us twist more toward the right. Breathing in, lift up through the crown. Breathing out, twist a little bit deeper. Pull the belly button in as you twist. And now come back through center. Bring your hands down. Lift your back foot up so that the top of the foot, the shoelace side of the foot, is coming onto the wall. Cramp there. And your left knee is coming all the way back to the trip. So I'm walking my right foot back a little bit, making sure that that knee's got that comfort. And then once I've got the shin on the wall, I'm going to press down onto my right knee to lift the crown of the head up. It's a pretty big stretch through this left hip flexor. If it's too much and this is better for you to bring your hands down, then just stay there. No need to go up any higher. But if you can, start to work your way back. Eventually, one day, we'll try to get our head and our shoulders back to the wall, stretching open through this left quad. It's a pretty big, intense stretch. Try to stay as tall as you can through the spine. Take nice, big, full breaths here. This is really nice, especially if you've been sitting a lot, lots of flexion in the hip creases and hip sockets. It's good for us to bend our knees this way, get some new oxygenated blood flow running back into the joints there, some fresh oxygenated blood. Let's take the next couple of rounds of breath here, breathing in and breathing out. Notice the sensations as you inhale, the sensations as you exhale. When you're ready, bring your hands down. And again, we'll come into child's pose, so slide that left knee away from the wall first. Guide your support, or if you've got a blanket out in front of you, walk your knees wide or together, up to you. Sit your hips back and stretch your arms out. Forehead or cheek to the mat. And coming back through center, go ahead and look forward. If you need to lay your bolster or your blanket out in front of you, go ahead and lay it out. Otherwise, you might already have your mat laid out. Come on forward onto your belly. And again, bend at your knees so that you can walk yourself back. Shins are heading back to the wall. And we're coming back into that Sphinx pose, elbows underneath of the shoulders, or option this time to walk your hands a little bit wider and see if you can lift your elbows off the mat for seal. Now, if this is really crunchy in your low back, just come down. You might need to walk your hands out a little bit further, and then you might have more space to lift those elbows up off the mat. Try to keep your shoulders away from your ears. If they're starting to lift up towards the ears, you've come up too far. So maybe just coming back down onto elbows or onto forearms. This is the same posture. The seal is just a little bit more advanced if we've got a deeper opening through our back. But again, if this is causing your breath to change, or maybe the sensation has turned no longer to a stretch but into pain, then we need to come down and find a place where we can find ease and maintain. So let's take the next 3 or 4 breaths wherever you're at. And then when you're ready to release, elbows walk wider, palms stack on top of one another, forehead stacks on top of the palms, and option to window wiper those knees. Go ahead and reach your arms out, roll over to one side and hug your knees in, and then press yourself up to a seat. For the last couple of postures, we are going to be on our backs, facing away from the wall. So go ahead, and if you've got your blanket out here and you want some space to lay down onto, you can roll that out. We're going to come as close to the wall as we possibly can. So it doesn't matter which side you're sitting on, just make sure that your hip is as close to the wall as you can get it. And then you're going to lay on down to your back. Lift the legs up and then turn yourself around. So this way we get our sits bones as close to the wall as we possibly can. We are going to start with just a simple legs up the wall. Holding here, just getting used to how the blood is flowing and this change of our view. Letting the spine lengthen out nice and long. And then go ahead and bend your knees, bring the soles of the feet together for butterfly pose on the wall. What I like about butterfly on the wall is the tendency in the posture when we are seated and forward folding is for the spine to round. The spine doesn't have the opportunity to round here because we're flat on our backs. If we want a little bit more pressure for the inner groins, press the feet together and then gently take your hands to your inner thighs and press your knees forward. Feel this nice lengthening through the low back. We also get an inner groin stretch as well. So you're only pressing to the point where you feel sensation. And that sensation, we want it to be a good sensation and not a painful sensation. So if it's too much pressure, simply back off and don't press as hard. If hands on the legs is not something that you're looking for extra pressure, you can always bring your arms out into goal pose or just rest your hands somewhere on your body here. Take the next couple of breaths in and out. And so we're holding each posture today for about 2 to 3 minutes. The next posture, we're going to take the legs up and then let them fall out wide-legged straddle pole. So just letting your legs kind of fall naturally as they do. You may be able to kind of open up as time goes on. But for now, just let your legs fall where gravity is going to kind of do the work for you. And you can just simply rest here and relax. When you're ready, guide your legs back up. And this one, we're gonna cross the right ankle over the left knee. And this is a figure 4 stretch. You might be feeling enough here, or if you need a little bit more, start to bend into your left knee and bring the sole of the foot down to the wall. So the more you bend your left knee in, the closer the right shin and ankle are heading towards your chest. We actually want the right knee to move away from our chest. We're stretching this outer hip, external rotation in the hip, and then the left leg is kind of controlling the depth of the stretch. Keep your right toes flexed so your toes are curling back towards your knee. That way we're protecting the knee joint and the ankle joint here. And we're keeping the spine nice and long. Spine is nice and straight. Again, usually a tendency to round in this posture if we're on our backs or seated. So with the help of the wall, we can still get that same benefit of the posture without compromising the length in the spine and rounding through the shoulders here. Let's take the next 2 breaths in and out. And then go ahead and slide the left leg long, slide your right leg back up, and change sides. Left ankle crosses over the right knee. Again, stay here. Notice what happens if one of your sits bones comes off of the trim. Try to keep both sits bones grounded, and then slowly start to bend into the right knee. And stop to where you feel that sensation. My left side is usually a little tighter than my right. Stopping here and breathing, make sure your toes and your foot is flexed. Over time, maybe able to move a couple of millimeters as you breathe in. Let's take the next 2 breaths here. And then release the left leg up long. Extend your right leg up long. Bring the feet together to touch. Bend at your knees. Soles of the feet will stay on the wall. Arms will reach out to goalpost or a T. Let your knees fall over to the right. You can keep walking your feet kind of down the wall so that you've got some pressure there. That'll help you get a little deeper into the spinal stretch. Gaze can head over to your left to open up the cervical spine. Breathe in, let your belly inflate and get large. Breathe out and surrender. Call your feet back up. Good. Let your knees fall over to the left. Again, you can press the soles of the feet into the wall, helping you to keep the knees elevated. And gaze can head over to the right. Breathing in, let your body get soft. Breathing out, let your body surrender to the posture, to the twist. And then coming back through center, our final posture will be happy baby or malasana on the wall. Soles of the feet stay on the wall, toes out, heels in. Hands and arms reach long so that the inner elbows, or the backs of your elbows, press into the inner knees, helping us to open up those inner groins a little more. Or you can bring your hands to heart center here if you like. Again, I love the wall postures because the tendency is typically to round through the spine, but we're on our backs, on the wall with the feet. We don't have the opportunity to round in the spine. So we're keeping that nice long length in the spine, helping us to find fuller, deeper breaths. Now for Shavasana, you are welcome to lengthen your legs up the wall for legs up the wall Shavasana, or if you prefer a more traditional Shavasana, you can let your legs turning to the one side and then let your legs come out long on your mat. I will hold the space here for the next several minutes so that we can all enjoy some peace, some silence, and I'll let you know when class has officially ended. So choose whichever way that you want to relax, add in support and props as needed, and then take these next several minutes to just simply be here. We're always so busy doing. Sometimes it's nice to just be. Here you might become aware of your heart rate and how it slows down, how the breath slows down. Become aware of how your body parts become heavy, especially the heaviness underneath of your heels as your legs and your feet rest against the wall or on the floor if you're choosing a traditional Shavasana. Deep peace to all of you. Take a nice deep breath in. Let it go. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. If your legs are up the wall, you might bend them in. If you're on the ground, maybe hug them into your chest. Massaging the low back and then rolling onto your right side, pausing in the fetal position. A moment of rebirth, a way for us to head back out into the rest of our day with a clear slate. Press up and lift yourself as easily as you can into an easy seat, same way somewhat where we began class. Coming back to the breath, bring your hands together at your heart, close your eyes. Together, let's breathe in through the nose and fill up the belly, ribs, and chest. Exhale out the mouth and release. Let it all go. Bow your chin towards your prayer hands. Taking in that new awareness, knowledge that we've gained about ourselves today, and weaving it into the flow of the rest of our day. Thank you for sharing your practice, your energy, and breath with me. May peace, may love, may light be felt within each and every one of you. Bless you and everyone you meet. Namaste. Thank you all for sharing your practice with me today. I hope you feel good. This is a nice practice to do, especially at home as you're building some of your home practice. We all have walls and we all have pillows to use as props. So thank you again for joining me. Tomorrow is a 12 p.m. vinyasa that'll be on IG Live. You can follow me on concentrated _ awesome. Otherwise, I have all my stuff posted on Facebook, and we'll have another Zoom meeting on Friday for Deep Stretch if you're interested. So Venmo and PayPal, all donations are always welcome. So thank you all for that. Happy rest of your Monday, and I hope to see you all soon. Take care. And until next time, namaste.